I'm going to show you a pathfinder tool here. So let's click here, and I'm actually going to move some of these off so we don't have to deal with those so much. Maybe simplify some of this. All right, so I've got these two objects. I'm going to change one here by using that sample tool. So I've got a black and a white, and maybe what we should do is change those. So now you can see I've got a white and a black. If it helps you see these in separation, you can see how this is opaque and they're both opaque there. So if we open our window palette here, or the window, and go to layers, you'll notice that on layer 1, because we have all these objects, you'll notice that I have two things selected. Both of these are selected. So if I just select one, you'll notice that this is that white rectangle. I can turn the eyeball on and off to show its visibility. I can also click on it here and it will select it. And right underneath it is that black square. So you can see how I selected that object there. If I select both of them just by dragging using the selection tool, or I select both of them, they'll both get selected. And I can move both of them around. I can scale and rotate and skew and reflect both of them. So that's another nice tool with that. But with the Pathfinder, what this is a way to join objects and isolate them in different ways. So I'm going to open up the Pathfinder icon or palette. You can see that it doesn't have a checkbox, and it's located right here. I have it bundled with transform and align, but when I click on the Pathfinder, I'm going to open up the options here as well. Gives you the precision. But you'll notice now the Pathfinder is open here. So what this does is it works with different shapes. Okay, so in this case right now, if I wanted to use this to cut a hole, the diamond be a hole in the black square. And you'll notice that if I roll my mouse over one of these, it will give me kind of what option it is. It says, okay, this is going to be unite, this is going to be minus the front, this is going to be intersect, and this is going to be exclude. The best way to kind of experiment is to kind of see how these go. But in this case, I want to use the top as a way to cut out a hole in this one. And so that's going to be this minus the front. So if I click this, you'll see that something happened, and I'll show you kind of as I drag this over on the edge, you can see that it's created a hole in that object. So you can see that I can have like stuff kind of shine through it, if that makes sense. Those are on top of it. Another example, let's say I wanted to actually join these two objects. So when they're both selected, you can see right now they're independent, but if I have them both selected and I want to unite them into one shape, I click this button here, Unite, and it's turned that into one shape. So a lot of times that's how we build objects, is by combining different shapes into one. So a good example of that, let's say we have this option here. I'm going to just sample that and turn it into a circle. And then I'm going to add another one. So I'm just going to hold the Command key down and the Shift key as well as the Option key. So Command and Option, you'll notice I get a double arrow there. It's going to actually take that object and copy it. And I can move it at the same time. Holding Shift down will constrain it. So now I have two circles. So what I'm going to do here is just slide this over, and it helps to maybe have them different colors. So if I had this gray, you can kind of see what I'm going to do is create a crescent. So a basic idea of this is the Earth, this is the Moon, and it's created a crescent. So and that only makes sense if this one is white. So now you can actually see how that is. But this would be another example of how I would want to have those two objects together, excuse me, in terms of which one is on top, which one's on bottom. So you can see that this one is on top, and when they're both selected and I use this minus the front, it will cut out that top part and create the crescent. And now I have a nice simple shape, and I can rotate that as I see fit and sample it and whatnot, do all sorts of things with it. So, but that's a great way of using the Pathfinder. I would say I use the unite and minus the front the most, but you'll be able to kind of experiment with that. And in some cases, real complex objects, it might minus a certain part. You may want to kind of experiment with how they intersect. So in that cases, this intersect is only going to take the intersection part, like the two parts that overlap. Or in this case, it's going to exclude that overlapping part. So those are kind of the two options. So you can kind of see that they're kind of mirrored and this is kind of mirrored. But I find that I use those the very most. So these other ones I don't use as much. But you can kind of explore how those work. But I'd say those two are the most common. So.